You know how when we were younger and we we see our parents or just older people in general like watching old TV shows or movies. For example, like I remember sometime in the 90s when me and my mother lived with my grandfather, and you have this show called Lassie. Um, uh, me I was maybe like 4, 5 years old at the time, and I quite enjoyed the show actually. Um, but it was years, many years later that I realized that that show came out um, when my grandfather was a child. And if he wasn't working and, I was home and and I wasn't at daycare, I would uh I would watch the show with him. And I would also watch um some old westerns and maybe some Looney Tunes where the coyote always fails at everything. And then you fast forward through time again. As you fast forward through time and you start to have a show or a movie that you enjoy, you kind of keep it close to you, and it's going to stay with you for a while. That also goes with your favorite kind of music too. Um, when I watched this, when I saw this movie called Sandlot, there was a quote that says, "People will be remembered, but legends may never die." So, when it comes to the music that we listen to, I want to safely say, arguably, each and every genre of music, movies, and TV shows from the 90s to the early 2000s were peak, were legendary. So as we watch these shows, listen to the music, etc., we hold on to that. And I've noticed that with all these new TV shows, movies that are coming out, it just doesn't hit like the old days, you know? So watching shows and TV like when you were young where you could hardly remember your own childhood to your then growing up to like being a teenager, you see your parents or old people still kind of clinging on to the past, which is fine because to them their movies were, I guess it's a lost art. The movies and TV shows that we have today are unfortunately recasted, remade, and it just lacks imagination. The music that we have today, right now, um, it doesn't stack up to the 90s and early 2000s. So when someone asks you, or when someone asks me, hey, what's your favorite movie? I tell them it's Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. That movie came out almost 20 years ago, 2006, because it was different. It was about cars. It was about a kid coming of age. And they don't make movies like they used to anymore. Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is a Fast and the Furious franchise, and a perfect example is that the new Fast and the Furious movies are just, like I said, recasted, remade, and importantly, it lacks the imagination. Some good tea. They keep remaking and remaking and remaking a movie to the point where the franchise is unrecognizable. So I want to say that Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was probably the last Fast and the Furious movie that was actually good. Then you have Superman Batman. I guess you could put Spider-Man in there too. You know, they keep remaking the movies, and in every remake that they make, the the foundation of the actual lore gets diluted. So when you see older people listening to music that's way before our time, it's because it's a lost art that can't be repeated, I guess, or um, it's a it's art that's like, you know, preserved in time in a way. Um, how should I say this? What I'm trying to say is the stuff that we have now, and the reason why we hold on to those movies and TV shows is because it's because I lost my train of thought. Wow. Okay. We hold on to it because there's no feasible way that you could make something as good as the original. And there's making a movie or making a song with imagination, then what we have now is adding new elements to our new media and calling it art. You know, forcing some type of narrative, you know, and it's been proven time and time again that, okay, another example, we had Scooby Doo. Um, I thought the Scooby Doo that I grew up on was like new, but it turns out that that was made in like the 60s or 70s. And then they keep remaking Scooby Doo to the point where Mindy Kaling um, wrote herself into the series. Took took the template, race swap everything, and called it art. It's not art. It's beating a dead horse. So then people get mad, they get angry, and it forces them to go back to the original and stick with that original instead of accepting what's new. So back in 2000, and I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and Kanye West was like he was that dude, you know. And this one guy, Derek Brown, remember him like the back of my hand. He was like, I want to say he was probably 34, 35 at the time. He's like, oh, his music sucks. Biggie Smalls and Tupac, that's where it's at, and he's not wrong. You know, he's not wrong, because as I get older, I see the new talent, and I'm thinking like, what is this? And the sad part about it is like the younger generation is actually listening to it. You know, they like it. So, but it's proven that 90s and early 2000s music is arguably the best, and there's no way that it could be replicated. Like the new movies that are being made today and TV shows that are being made today, you know, they're trying their best and calling it art, but the person that's making the art, like Mindy Kaling, for example, um, they know that they can't compare or beat what they were trying to remake. So, there was a time where I was like, okay, here's a movie, this is what's going to happen. The guy gets the girl and live happily ever after. And now they're changing it to strong, independent female, or the man that's the bachelor, or hot dog on hot dog, or taco on taco, and love is love. And it's like you're trying to make a love story that doesn't apply to the majority. Because my grandfather, he could relate to Lassie, but he can't relate to hot dog on hot dog, so to say. I don't know where I'm going with this, but no matter how many years go by, I think I'm going to stick to the old stuff. I guess that's where I'm going with it. I'm just going to stick to what I know, and hopefully find a list, an archive of like all the TV shows and movies that I used to watch, and just, oh, I remember this one show called Greek. That was a good show. Like it was new. It was original, and this girl had a younger brother who was a nerd, and he got into a fraternity, and at the end of the series, he led the fraternity. Yeah. Anywho's, that was just my sick thought.